Fast doesn't have to mean expensive. While everyone's busy chasing $50,000 performance cars, there's a hidden world of budget beasts flying under the radar. Whether you're a tuner, a sleeper fan, or just someone who loves going fast for cheap, this list is for you. Here are 5 seriously quick cars you can find for under $5,000 if you know where to look. Let's get into it. First up, the original Audi TT. Don't let the curvy looks fool you. Underneath, it's a beast. Audi TT Quattro, particularly the Mark I, hit the streets in 1998. The coupe version first, and then the Roadster came a year later. Built on the same platform as the Golf Mark IV and the Audi A3, this little beast was Audi's attempt to shake up the sports coupe market. It had the looks, it had the tech, and it had the performance to back it all up. But what really set the TT apart? The Quattro all-wheel drive system, of course. Audi's legendary all-wheel drive made its debut in this compact machine, instantly elevating it from just another stylish car to something that could actually handle itself on the road. And let's not forget, its distinctive design turned it into an automotive icon almost overnight. Now let's talk numbers, because we all know the real reason we love cars is how they perform, right? Under the hood, the Audi TT Quattro came with a few different options to make sure there was something for everyone. First up, the 1.8T Quattro, yes, the turbocharged 4-cylinder. The base version made 180 horsepower, which wasn't too bad for a car this size. But if you stepped up to the 225 horsepower version, now we're talking 225 horsepower and a turbocharger that was almost too much fun to handle. If you wanted even more power, Audi had a treat for you, the 240 horsepower Quattro Sport. 240 horsepower? Yes, please. And for those who loved a bit of a growl, in 2003, Audi dropped the 3.2 VR6 Quattro with 250 horsepower and a much more refined driving experience. It came with a 6-speed dual-clutch DSG gearbox, which for the time was pure sorcery. The VR6 engine was a legend in itself, and the fact that it came with Quattro all-wheel drive made the car feel like it could take on anything, from rainy streets to mountain roads. Let's talk about what made the Mark I TT so special. Aside from the Quattro system, there was the design. Let's face it, the TT looked like a concept car that somehow made it to production. The round, almost bubble-like shape and the futuristic interior had the whole world wondering what Audi was smoking when they came up with it. And trust me, that's a good thing. The interior was a dream for minimalists. Simple, clean, and focused on the driving experience. But it wasn't just about good looks. The TT was also packed with tech, including the turbocharged engine options, which offered impressive performance for the time. And don't forget the fact that it came with a rear spoiler and stiffer suspension after the infamous handling issues from its early production years. Audi made sure that their little sports coupe didn't just look good, it actually worked at high speeds. In short, it had the looks and the brains. The Mark I Audi TT wasn't exactly born without its controversies. When it first launched in 1998, the car's high-speed handling was, let's say, a bit sketchy. Above 110 miles per hour, the car had a tendency to get a little floaty, a design flaw that led to some high-speed instability and, sadly, a couple of fatalities. Audi wasn't just sitting around after that. They rolled out a major recall with updates that included the ESP stability control system, suspension improvements, and a rear spoiler that did wonders for stability. But here's the thing, after these fixes, the TT became a stable powerhouse. It was a car that wasn't just about being fun on a straightaway, but actually handled like a champ around corners. Coming next is the front-wheel drive first-gen Mazda Speed 3. Generation Mazda Speed 3 didn't ease into the scene. It burst onto the hot hatch scene, dropped 263 horsepower, and said, "Catch me if you can." If you're looking for a calm, practical ride, this might not be the car for you. But if you crave excitement and power, this turbocharged hatchback might just become your new obsession. Let's make one thing perfectly clear. The Mazda Speed 3 isn't for the faint of heart or for the traction control obsessed. It's front-wheel drive, and yes, that might make you nervous. But don't let that front-wheel drive fool you. This little hatch is far more capable than its drivetrain suggests. With 280 foot-pounds of torque and a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of under 6 seconds, this is a car that doesn't play around. The question is, can you handle it? Built between 2007 and 2009, the first-generation Mazda Speed 3 is a performance machine that still holds up remarkably well, even years later. Under the hood, you'll find the turbocharged 2.3-liter MZR-L3 VDT inline-4 engine. This engine is no slouch, churning out 263 horsepower at 5,500 RPM, but it's the torque that really stands out. At 280 foot-pounds of torque, this hot hatch feels as though it's ready to tear down the road every time you hit the accelerator. It's an engine that propels this car forward with a sense of urgency that feels downright personal. Now about that manual transmission. Mazda didn't waste time giving you any automatic options. No paddles, wheels, no lazy CVT pretending to be fun. Instead, you get a 6-speed manual transmission and a clear directive: do it yourself. The absence of an automatic transmission here isn't a slight, it's an invitation to engage fully in the driving experience. Mazda wanted to make sure you had no excuses to not be connected to the road. As if that wasn't enough, the Speed 3 comes standard with a GKN limited slip differential. That means it actually tries to put power down effectively instead of having the front tires squirming and torque steering into a mailbox. That said, Mazda did limit the boost to about 230 horsepower in first and second gears just to keep things from getting out of hand. But don't worry, even with those restrictions, the car still delivers plenty of thrills. Now let's talk handling, because the Mazda Speed 3 doesn't just go fast, it knows how to handle its power. Mazda put serious effort into making sure this car could tackle corners with the same ferocity it brings to the straights. Extra bracing, additional cross members, and a stiffer suspension help reduce chassis flex, resulting in a car that feels more like a rally-bred corner carver than a run-of-the-mill hatchback. The suspension setup isn't just about stiffness either. Mazda ensured the suspension could provide a balanced ride, offering just enough comfort to make it practical as a daily driver, but with the kind of performance that makes you feel like you're carving through a series of apexes every time you turn the wheel. Brakes? Oh yeah, they're just as serious. Borrowed from Volvo, the Speed 3 features 320mm rotors up front and 280mm rotors out back, ensuring that you can bring this beast to a halt with confidence. When you're dealing with a car that can rocket from 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, having brakes that can keep up is essential. Mazda didn't skimp on this department, ensuring you'd have the stopping power you needed even when you're attacking corners or making a hard, late braking move into a stoplight. Hear me out. Yes, it looks like a retro delivery van, but the HHRSS came with some serious power. It wasn't just another quirky retro-styled wagon. This thing had real bite. GM took an economy car and stuffed it with power, and the result? A sleeper that left people scratching their heads at stoplights. In 2006, Chevrolet was in the midst of its transition into an era that would see its vehicles evolve in bold new ways. While the company had solid offerings in the market, they recognized the need for a product that could stand out from the crowd. The Chevrolet HHR, first introduced in 2005, was a vehicle that tried to mix practicality with a retro-inspired design, channeling the spirit of the iconic 1949 Chevrolet Suburban. The HR's overall vibe was quirky, an economy-minded compact wagon with a unique boxy shape that tried to evoke the charm of the 1950s. But let's be honest, the regular HR wasn't exactly setting hearts on fire and isn't why you are here. Sure, it had a decent list of features, was relatively affordable, and had good fuel economy. But in the world of cars, where enthusiasts crave performance and excitement, the HR was far from an object of desire. It had potential but lacked something. That's where Chevrolet's performance division came into play, and suddenly, things got interesting. Enter the HHRSS. Back in 2006, Chevrolet decided they wanted to make something special. Cheryl Catton, the director of car marketing, confirmed that a high-performance version of the HHR was in the works. That announcement alone was enough to spark curiosity among the automotive community. It was a bold move to take a vehicle like the HHR, a utilitarian, somewhat uncool wagon, and transform it into a performance-oriented sleeper. It wasn't just another quirky retro-styled wagon, it was a turbocharged powerhouse. The moment that the HHRSS was revealed to the public, it was clear that GM had put serious thought into making it more than just a visual upgrade. On August 16, 2007, Chevrolet unveiled the 2008 HHRSS at the Woodward Dream Cruise in Michigan. The event showcased a new breed of performance vehicles, and this was Chevrolet's entry into the fray. This wasn't just some badge-engineered attempt at sportiness. GM actually put in the work. The HHRSS was packing a 2.0-liter turbocharged Ecotec LNF engine, the same one found in the Pontiac Solstice GXP and Saturn Sky Redline. This engine wasn't just slapped onto the HHRSS for show. It was a carefully engineered power plant designed to deliver impressive performance. With the 5-speed manual, the HHRSS pushed out a solid 260 horsepower, which was impressive for a car of its size and class. Opt for the 4-speed automatic though, and you were left with 235 horsepower, a downgrade, but still respectable. This turbocharged power was sent to the front wheels, and anyone who's driven a front-wheel drive car with that much power knows that torque steer becomes an inevitable part of the experience. GM wasn't oblivious to that fact, and they equipped the HHRSS with the FE5 performance suspension. Next up, the Mark III Focus ST. This thing didn't show up to be a background character. It came to flip tables, take names, and give family-friendly practicality a massive shot of adrenaline. So buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into a car that's part commuter, part hooligan, and all fun. The third-gen Ford Focus ST, built from 2012 to 2018, isn't just another hatchback. It's Ford's answer to the age-old question, what if your grocery getter could also throw down at track day? Designed for drivers who want performance without giving up daily usability, it comes in two flavors: the versatile 5-door hatch and the estate version. It slots right between being a fun weekend warrior and a reliable daily driver, and it does it without being obnoxiously priced or over-designed. Under the hood is a 2.0-liter EcoBoost turbocharged inline-4 pushing out 250 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. All of that is sent to the front wheels through a crisp 6-speed manual. Yes, a manual, because driving should still be fun. It goes from 0 to 60 in about 6.1 seconds, which isn't face-melting, but plenty quick for something you can drive to work in. Top speed is a respectable 154 miles per hour, and thanks to its relatively light 1,300 kilogram weight and torque vectoring control, the Focus ST grips through corners like a caffeinated cat. Compared to its rivals like the Volkswagen GTI, Mazda Speed 3, and even the Honda Civic Si, it's right in the sweet spot of performance, practicality, and affordability. But numbers only tell part of the story. The real joy of the Focus ST comes from the way it feels when you drive it. There's an eagerness in how it delivers power, an honesty to the way it corners. It's not burdened by excessive weight or overcomplicated tech. It's raw enough to give you that thrill while still polished enough to handle a commute. Ford really leaned into the balance of daily drivability and backroad prowess, and they nailed it. Now let's talk quirks and features, and no, this isn't a Doug DeMuro episode, but the ST has its share of cool stuff. First up, the Active Sound Symposer. It's a little gimmick that pipes in engine sound to the cabin to make your drive feel even more visceral. Some love it, some don't, but there's no denying it adds drama. Then you've got the aggressive front-end design, wide stance, and that signature center exit exhaust that screams, "I am not your average Focus." Side, depending on the trim, ST1, ST2, or ST3, you'll find goodies like Recaro sport seats that hug you, a Sony sound system, and Ford's Sync infotainment that, okay, wasn't perfect, but it tried its best. Depending on your trim level, you either get a basic, functional interior in the ST1, a slightly more premium setup with heated seats and partial leather in the ST2, or the top-of-the-line ST3 with full leather Recaros, dual-zone climate, and more toys to play with. No matter which version you go with, you get a cockpit that feels focused on the driver. The driving position is low and sporty. The shifter falls right to hand, and the flat-bottom steering wheel feels just right. It's not luxurious, but it's definitely not cheap feeling either. There's deliberate quality to the design. And finally, the boxy legend, the Volvo 850R. Really quick, after months of working behind the scenes, the clothing line is finally live. I designed this drop for the real car lovers. Car-inspired pieces with a cool twist that actually means something. It's a limited release. So if you want to support the channel and rock some of the cleanest designs out there, hit the link in the description and grab yours before it's too late. A car that took Volvo's sensible, safety-obsessed reputation and threw a big turbocharged wrench into it. This wasn't just another boxy Swedish wagon your parents drove. No, this was a car that could haul groceries and haul on the track, all while looking like it belonged in an executive parking lot. And it's the kind of car that makes modern Volvos look, well, a little too polite. Back in the early 90s, Volvo was known for making safe, reliable, and, let's be honest, pretty boring cars. They had a niche, and they stuck with it, dominating the market with their boxy sedans and wagons. But that's not to say Volvo didn't want to branch out a bit. The automotive world was changing, and Volvo knew it couldn't just keep making cars that were perfect for safely transporting the kids to school while looking like the family minivan. Enter the Volvo 850R. The 850R wasn't just another trim level of the 850. It was a high-performance model that took the already impressive 850 and turned up the dial on everything. While Volvo had already made waves with the limited-run 850 T5R, a high-performance version of the 850, the 850R was the company's final word in performance sedans and wagons. By 1996, Volvo had clearly embraced the idea that performance didn't have to come at the expense of practicality or safety. The 850R was available in two body styles, a saloon, which was a sedan, and an estate, which was a wagon, because, of course, practicality was still a priority. It didn't matter if you needed to haul your family or your gear, the 850R could do it with style and performance. The car came equipped with a 2.3-liter turbocharged 5-cylinder engine that offered a performance output of 247 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque in the manual version. For the automatic, those figures were slightly lower, at 237 horsepower and 243 foot-pounds of torque. This wasn't just a fast car, it was fast in a way that felt effortlessly composed. Let's break down the performance side of the equation. The manual version, with its M59 heavy-duty manual transmission, was an absolute blast to drive. It came equipped with a viscous coupling, limited slip differential that significantly improved traction and handling. The larger turbo engine, a redesigned turbo manifold, an upgraded intercooler, and a unique ECU running Motronic 4.3 all came together to create a driving experience that was fast and thrilling, but not over the top. The 0 to 60 mile per hour time for the manual was around 6.5 seconds, which at the time was impressively quick for a car that could also carry a load of groceries or a family's worth of luggage. On the other hand, the automatic version was a bit more subdued in terms of performance. It had a slightly slower 0 to 60 mile per hour time of about 7.1 seconds, and while it wasn't as exciting as the manual, it was still a very solid performer in its own right. The automatic was designed for those who wanted something a bit more relaxed but still capable of some serious speed. With a top speed of around 150 miles per hour, the 850R could hold its own against plenty of other high-performance sedans of its era. There you go, 5 fast cars that prove you don't need deep pockets to go quick. Each one has its quirks, but that's part of the charm. Which one would you take home with $5,000 in your pocket? Drop your pick in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more cheap speed and hidden gems. Catch you in the next one.